What is up, dudes and lady dudes? I know what you see on the screen. I know it makes you shiver in fear. It does the same thing to me. You're not alone. I haven't really talked about Red Eyes Dragoon, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon in a minute, and I kind of forgot about it. Once I finally figured that we were getting it, it kind of like was coming and crept up on me and crept up on me and crept up on me, and now we're a week away. And now I'm legitimately sitting here thinking like, oh boy, this card is a problem and a half. So today we're doing a discussion about this card. I just haven't really talked about it in a minute. I want to talk about what I'm expecting it to be, how I'm expecting it to be utilized in the meta, what you should expect to be ready for to combat this card, and maybe even use it yourself, right? So without further ado, we might as well start by going over what this card does overall. So it's a Dark Spellcaster level 8 fusion monster. It takes Dark Magician, Red Eyes Black Dragon, or one dragon effect monster. And its effects go as followed. Cannot be destroyed by card effects. Neither player can target this card with card effects. Okay, so so you can't be destroyed and can't be targeted. Can be beaten over by battle, but just not by card effects. Okay. During the main phase, you can destroy one monster your opponent controls, non-targeting, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack. Okay. Okay. So just a non-targeting pop a monster and burn. Okay. Also, if you didn't know, you can use this effect of a number of times per turn up to the number of normal monsters used as fusion material for this card. So if you played specifically Dark Magician and Red Eyes Black Dragon, you would be using 2 normal monsters, which means this guy would get to do that twice per turn. Not just once per turn, non-targeting pop a monster, twice, and then burn for a hefty amount of damage each time. That's insane. And the last effect here says once per turn when a card or effect is activated, anything. Quick effect, you can discard one card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. And if you do that, this card gains 1,000 attack permanently, going from 3,000 to 4,000, and so on. Every single turn, you're able to negate something. Okay, so this card's insane. Like, it's a big boss monster that's very hard to out already just because it can't be destroyed by card effects, can't be targeted by card effects. It's twice per turn because most people are going to just be playing Red Eyes and Dark Magician in their decks as materials for this. So there you go. There's, there's 2 pops per turn. And the last thing is an Omni Negate. Negates anything. It's any card or effect. The only downside of this entire monster is you got to discard a card to negate something. That's it. Hurts your hand economy a little bit. That's about it. The only other downside actually would be that you do have to play Red Eyes Fusion, Dark Magician, and Red Eyes Black Dragon in your deck. Actually, if you're playing a dragon deck or a deck that's just already playing dragon cards, you actually don't have to play Red Eyes at all, which does take away one more brick, which is actually kind of cool in my opinion, but still, it's one of those things. Anyway, negates and destroys, and then you gain 1,000, so you just get subsequently bigger and bigger. One thing this card can be is beaten over by battle, but you gain 1,000. Once you negate the first thing, you're 4,000. You get another thing, you're 5,000, right? And you just keep climbing, making that even less of a possible thing for your opponent to achieve. And at the end of the day, this card is just insane. It's disruption. It's removal. It's really hard to out. And it's extremely generic and easy to make. Essentially put any 2 monsters on the field, effect monsters on the field, and this card is there. This card is yours. So this card is a lot. I mean, I don't think I need to go too in depth on how busted this is. We've all been hearing the rumors. We've all been talking about this card as it's gotten closer and closer. We know this card is busted because you can just go into Verte Anaconda, send a Red Eyes Fusion to send Dark Magician and Red Eyes from hand, deck, or field to grave, and then you make him, and he can a lot of times just win a duel by himself. So he's very scary, and he's going to be teched into a lot of things. Even though Verte Anaconda does lock you out of summoning for the rest of the turn, this is just going to be their last play. They're going to set up all the rest of their disruptions, then they'll put up the Boral Savage, they'll put up the Arclight, you know what I mean, put up Dweller, whatever else they want, and then they'll go Verte Anaconda and summon out the Red Eyes Dragoon to finish off the board, which is extremely terrifying. It's just extremely terrifying, and a lot of decks can do it. I'm expecting mostly to see this in like combo decks, to go down a route of like, we do most of our combo, but like think about Adamantipator. They go like something into, they do all this stuff, and then they make Union Carrier as the last thing they do to equip like a Buster Lock, right? And set up the Buster Lock. Well, instead of going Union Carrier there, you could be going into Verte. And I know like that's arguable because like Adamancer need to be working on consistency as much as possible, so they may not really want to play the fusion and the two other bricks in their deck. So that's definitely an argument. But like that's the idea there is they had 2 extra materials and they could still make this guy out of it. The other thing that's really good in combo decks is a lot of times you're just like, okay, throw 1 hand trap at him, throw 2 hand traps at him. And they're sitting there and they're like, man, my play is stopped. Well, before they may have been stopped with like 2 monsters on the field. Now, if they just get stopped, and they're able to just anyway get 2 bodies on the board that are effect monsters, they can still end on Red Eyes Dragoon. And that's so strong. Your opponent's already 2 cards out of the hand, and now they have to play through an untargetable, indestructible body that's going to punish them by starting to pop cards next turn if they can't get it off the field in 1 turn. And it's an omni-negate. It's terrifying. This card is terrifying for that because it just makes every combo deck potentially more resilient. Now it also does increase their, it also lowers their consistency in the sense that they could brick on those, you know, the Dark Magician, the Red Eyes, or the Fusion itself. But, you know, there's going to be a little give and take. And I think that little give is worth all the take you get of reaping the benefits of how powerful this card is going to be for your deck, for your strategy. And I really think the other scary thing is that there's limited options to deal with this. A lot of our new cards can't really deal with this, right? But stuff like Kaijus can work, right? And that includes like Lava Golem as well, right? Tributing 2 things, or even Sphere Mode, tributing the Red Eyes Dragoon and 2 other monsters, as long as you're playing a strategy that doesn't care about its normal summon too much. That could definitely be a route to go. Also, Dark Ruler no more, because Dark Ruler no more one does not target, and then negates the Dragoon. So I believe the Dragoon will lose its protection effects from that point, in which case you can remove it with anything, and it also can't be chained to this to negate it. Pretty nice. The one thing I'll say is that Forbidden Droplets does not really work here because Droplets needs to target Dragoons in the first place to negate it, which it cannot be in the first place, I believe. So I don't believe Droplets works there, so Dark Ruler definitely takes the cake on that front. And then the other one is like Super Poly, because just basically this is a dark monster. So if there's any other dark monster on the field, Super Poly could come back into the format. If Dragon Link is like a big juggernaut making Red Eyes Dragoon, that could be something interesting because they already end on darks. As well as like if Boral Savage stays like a very popular monster and people are constantly ending Boral Savage plus Dragoon, Super Poly could be a very, very, very handy card for just dispatching both immediately while also assembling your own big beater to your own field to then do extra damage with. So just a couple things to note there, but honestly, past this, there's not a ton of stuff. A lot of decks just don't even have the tools to deal with a Dragoon. There are a lot of decks that are like tier 2 and below. The reason they're tier 2 and below is because they don't have a busted removal like that. Adamancer has Dragite in the extra deck to just bounce the Dragoon if you can already bait its negate. What else am I thinking? Orcust has something like Ding Gearsuit. Doesn't target, doesn't destroy. Boom, added up. As well as Lib in the extra deck. When she's linked off, she can non-targeting shuffle it back into the deck. But you can't go Unicorn, you can't go Cerberus, you can't just pop it, because it can't be targeted. So those don't work. And only like the best of the best decks like that can really have a chance to even out this card. And it's a terrifying problem. Eldritch, I believe the only way Eldritch outs it is if like, without letting them negate anything, somehow get Golden Lord on the board with his 3,500 buff, and then walking over it. But that seems very unlikely as well. Eldritch definitely struggles to out this card, and it could go a long way in hurting Eldritch as far as how it stands in the meta, unless it has like other cards at its disposal to help it get over. Something like Purgatrio may be like a invoked Eldritch's only way to like out something like that. Have Purgatrio get big enough to just walk over the Dragoon, and it's terrifying. There's just, oh boy, I can't even explain to you, because like if you're not playing it, you're just going to be playing against it, and if you're playing it, you're going to be playing against it. It's terrifying. I don't really know. I feel like that's just the basis of this video, but still, I haven't talked about it too much. I really hope you know, we figure out the best ways to deal with this card in the most optimal ways. Maybe it's just to play enough hand traps to be able to, like, not let them even get this far. I have no idea. But, man, this card is a threat. Hopefully, this video helped you get a little more acclimated, a little more ready for this card's release and the meta that will surround it. Because, man, if this card doesn't get hit soon, we're going to be dealing with it for a while. And that's brutal. Because this card is not a healthy piece in the format if, like, every deck is just trying to pump it out. But, yeah, that's going to do it for me here, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this video. Just a discussion video about Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Let me know your thoughts down below on this card. If I'm missing any big cards that are, like, very helpful, useful, generic, like, outs to a card like this, definitely throw that in the comments down below. I'm definitely open to that. You know, so everybody can know, you know, a little bit better who watches this video, maybe checks the comments, any extra cards that help you out this card, and any other interactions as well that that you think might come up. But that's going to do it for me here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more discussion videos like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.